Okay, so I have started the recording. And again, this is the HBCU webinar that is going to truly explain the value proposition for success, and more specifically of bringing Lean Six Sigma certification excursions to HBCU institutions, of which you are one.
Yes, ma'am. Looking forward to it. Thank you.
Oh yeah, yeah. We've got a great agenda for you, and I wanted to be able to tell you a little bit about who we are and what we do. I'm going to just go hit it straight between the eyes with a 2x4 and give you the benefits of what this is all about. Get into what Lean Six Sigma really is. Looking at what the requirements are for the HBCUs to host these programs through us, and who brings what dish to the party. In other words, what do you do versus what we need to do for you, and then some next steps. And because it's you and I think we can possibly do some Q&A back and forth as you have some questions that arise.
Okay.
Okay. To kick off, to kick off and give you a little bit of information about who we are, and who's running the show. CMA Enterprise is a process and performance improvement consulting firm, boutique management consulting firm in layman's terms, and we've been around since 1990. So we've weathered a lot of storms. We're very diversified, as you'll see in a moment. And the parent company is CMA Enterprise, and our training division is called the Breakthrough Institute, which is where we house all of our training, classroom and online, and the webinars that you're experiencing now. And our whole focus is to expose the gaps that exist within your organization. And in this instance, we noticed that you all didn't have this type of program. Once we do that, we look to help build some sustainable solutions, which is what we're going to touch on today. Then we look at building some inclusive transformations, which we'll talk about a little bit. How do we bring everybody on board? How do we build that community? We do more than just bring the programs to you. We help you to work the programs, integrate the programs, and make them successful for all involved: the students, your business and industry, in the community and surrounding areas, the staff and faculty. So we look to help you build an inclusive community through this, the processes and products and services that we bring. I'm sorry?
Oh, no, I was just saying perfect, great.
Okay. And then our biggest focus is to help raise capacity and capability in the people, and to teach you how to run your operations streamlined, effectively, profitably. That's what we do. And then finally, we look to challenge, I'm going to move these out of the way. We look to challenge you in changing your paradigms, and their paradigms for sustainable success. If I can't look to be sustainable and change my ways of doing things to get better results, bigger results, sustainable results, my position is, what's the point? And that's the whole philosophy of the company that we have here. I am the founding principal of CMA Enterprise. And we'll move that over there for a minute. I am a corporate director. I am an HBCU alum, so I do understand the culture and the needs of the HBCUs and the students. And I think that's important when it comes to being able to serve the institutions called HBCUs. I was one of the first graduates in the economic and finance degree at Tennessee State University, and I graduated through the honors program. I'm a Lean Six Sigma Master Black Belt, which is the highest level that you can achieve when it comes to this discipline and certification. And it also means that I'm able to certify the people that come to me for these courses and projects that they want to facilitate underneath this universe. And I'm also the designer of these academy certification series that we're looking to introduce to you all. I'm a formally trained mediator, and I'm a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority, ASQ, which is American Society for Quality, NACD, which is National Association of Directors and Women Corporate Directors. So I've had an opportunity to get out here and create a nice universe for myself and for the company and those that we've had the honor of serving. And now we want to bring it back home to the HBCUs so that as students come to you and as the wave of minorities, Black and brown, start coming back to the HBCUs, that we have helped with bringing the programs that need to be in place to make us competitive and attractive to the students that choose to come back to you or come to you, so that there's nothing sacrificed, but everything is gained from making that decision to become part of your family. So why should you consider this type of initiative? Well, I'm just going to bring out the 2x4 and swing it, because with this type of initiative, bottom line, Mr. McCoy, the competition has it, and they're leveraging it to attract students, business and industry, internship, entrepreneurs, and just people who are interested in improving their positioning out there in the job market. And that's why we want to be able to bring this. We've had people, I had a young woman who came to me, this was a couple years ago, and she was interviewing for a job. One of the criteria that she needed to have was a Six Sigma certification. And she didn't have to go high, she just needed to have a yellow belt. With that confirmation of obtaining the yellow belt legitimately, she was able to achieve the closing of a $150,000 job. We've had other people who were in government and left government after they achieved their certification, went into private sector and doubled their salaries. So you can see the magnitude of holding a credential such as this. And I should also say, when it comes to HBCUs and institutions of education, you're ranked by your students, by the communities, by business and industry with how well you're able to place your students. That's money in the bank for you. So that's another reason why this is a competitive edge for all the stakeholders involved. So really, what are the benefits? I've touched on it a little bit, but let's take it a little bit further. You become an institution that houses a global certification series on your campus. One of the things my firm did was we did a global scan of the HBCU network, and we saw that you have, out of 104, 107 universities, only 7 to 10 actually showed that they had Lean Six Sigma. And what we also saw was that, and we could tell just by some of the pricing, that many of them were not industry compliant programs. That's very, very important, and I'll speak to that a little bit later. But you have an opportunity to create a competitive edge for yourself within the HBCU network. Becoming known in your higher education network, as I just spoke, as a place to obtain this type of certification. One of the things that you have as an advantage in the offerings that we're bringing is that if you are offering it online, you can be anywhere in the world. We just were on the phone with Africa this morning. We could easily say to Africa, look, we're partnering with Stillman College. and they have the Lean Six Sigma certification, go through Stillman. And what that does, it creates an opportunity for you to introduce your college to other people, but more importantly, there's a revenue share. And I'll talk about that later. So I'm just kind of throwing out carrots to you. Your corporate partners, if you don't have them or if you are courting them, begin to recognize the benefit of hiring your graduates for internships, which you had just mentioned, and or permanent engagements, because they're coming in locked and loaded. We've had some students who attended Bethune Cookman, where we have certified and trained over 115 students and a few faculty up and through and including yellow belt, because undergraduate, that really is the level that we take them. They really need more business experience to go further. But we've had many students come back who either have gone into the workforce or gone into graduate level work, where people are noticing the fact that they're carrying these credentials, and more importantly, they want to know where they got it, because this is not the everyday kind of certification that you walk in with. It's also going to give you the opportunity to diversify revenue streams for the university or college, schools, and continuing education. That's pretty important, because what people don't realize is that once you get your initial certification, you have the opportunity to come back for refresher courses, just take miscellaneous tool knowledge-based courses when you get into black belt level, master black belt level, and in some instances, green belt, and I'll explain that in a minute. Black belt and master black belt have to be renewed every 3 years. So you have recertification opportunities. For green belt, which is where a lot of people stop, you have the opportunity to do refresher courses so that they can keep their certifications active and up to date. So it's another revenue stream. And that all comes back through the college. Am I hitting some buttons yet?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Definitely.
Okay. You know, when it comes to, again, curb appeal for the respective schools within your university or the college, for existing and potential students, knowing and understanding that if this becomes part of the curriculum, we had a conversation with Tennessee State University, who does have the program, all the programs active underneath their continuing education umbrella right now. Their newly signed school with us. You know, there's thought process of integrating it into the undergraduate or the graduate level programs, so that again, your student candidates come out with credentials on steroids, if you will, not just that degree. So it again becomes attractive, and the curb appeal raises you closer to that top of the group. You're not just one in a group, you are leading the pack. What are some of the other benefits? Well, again, business and industry will begin to provide financial support for your job, for their job candidates and interns. If you've got students in their organizations who are building their own reputations and secondary representing Stillman College, then or any of the other HBCUs that are in the network, they're going to want more. They're going to want to hone in on being able to lock in those candidates. And if there's financial support that's needed, those are conversations that are a lot easier to have, because they've already experienced the students that have come through with these types of certifications, with that type of discipline that is accompanying these types of certifications, and the toolboxes that they bring. And I'll explain that in just a moment. The students, again, as I just mentioned, they're going to raise their competitive edge and confidence in the marketplace. And they'll be able to compete against anyone from any school, anywhere. I think one of the things that I truly appreciated when I went to the HBCU was when I got out into the workforce, I had no hesitance when it came to standing next to someone from Brown or Harvard or Yale. It made no difference to me because I had that HBCU fight in me. But if I had had this type of credential or certification backing me up even more, it would have been an even more competitive edge and confidence level that accompanied me when I walked out into the workforce. And we want to bring that to the students. The sessions that we do through this certification process are designed to engage our attendees. And you want to engage, because you went through the Greenbelt, you want to share with them what you experienced?
Well, yeah, and the process, and as we compared the process to curriculum that was designed by some well-known purveyors of the certification in the marketplace. Matter of fact, these gentlemen are known as the Yale of the industry. But it was a fantastic experience. Yeah, very much engaging and very much acclimative of being involved. So it's a great program. It is. I have a lot of business experience, and I did connect the dots with it.
And when it came to our program, from the standpoint of the HBCU, did it feel like a certification? Because the traditional certification program tends to be kind of bland. And what we have found is that, and the feedback that we get is a lot of our attendees and candidates don't feel or forget that they are in a certification course or process because that rigidness is removed. And we try to make it as enjoyable and engaging for our students as possible, because we took away and redesigned and translated the technical language into everyday business language so that it's easy to follow, easy to interpret, and easy to absorb. When it comes to the university, it is a no-cost arrangement until people register for the classes. When it comes to any cost that you may incur, it may be for your own outreach to get people involved and educated, and we do help you with that. So one of the things that we do is we have flyers that are designed. And if we have some time, I'll share with you the webpage, sample webpage that we have set up for the HBCU network, which is all-inclusive of the courses that we look to offer you through the program, and the flyers are there as well. So we made it a one-stop shop for you. And let me say this also, you have access to coaching from a certified Lean Master Black Belt, yours truly. And what we also have set up is an HBCU social media chat room so that we can build that community of Lean Six Sigma certified professionals that have HBCU degrees. You can talk with each other, you can brainstorm with each other. If you're going through the journey, you can share and compare notes and experiences. So we try to make sure that it doesn't feel like an isolated event. And if it's done online, we make sure that we have direct interaction like we're having now, so that when you go back and do your assignments, there isn't that gap of I have no one to talk to, because we want to always be there to nurture you, to answer your questions. It's the same philosophy that's used in the HBCUs when students are there on campus. They know that they've always got someone to go to. Again, and we talked about enhanced revenue streams. So what does that mean for the university? Well, when it comes to the relationship, we pre-negotiate a percentage of the net revenues that go back to the HBCU. And one of the things that I learned when it came to talking to the TSUs, and when we did our environmental scans, one of the questions we asked in the survey, and I think you did respond to it, was, are you making any money when it comes to working with your vendors who are providing the services in your continuing education department? And the answer was resoundingly no. Well, one of the things we try to educate our clients on, and especially with this network, if you are going to sell the product that you do, and you are, you're going into a non-traditional side of education. You're not just looking at the traditional tuition. This is a different type of tuition, and there should be a margin for you incorporated, and that's one of the things that we have done. So if you've got someone who has registered, I'm going to give you an example, for Greenbelt, and that Greenbelt costs $2,500, that's the gross, and that includes everything: their software, the materials, the facilitation, the coaching. But once we take hard costs off the top, because that goes out to our suppliers, there's a net revenue that now we look at to give you, the university or college, that's that negotiated percentage. Does that sound like something that would be of interest to you? I'm hoping.
I'm sorry, I forgot. Oh no, I put it on mute. That's why I was talking, but it was
like,
on mute.
okay.
Sorry about that.
I'm talking.
Yeah, no. I put it on mute just so if I was moving around, you didn't hear. But no, that the revenue sharing is good.
Yeah, you make money from the start. And the big challenge is making sure that we properly educate the potential candidates and end users and business community on the value of what this truly means. When you look at the revenue streams that exist underneath this universe, it is the initial global certification. So that's like level one. Then you've got the renewals, like I spoke about before. Black belt and master belt are mandatory every 3 years. And if you've got people in business and industry that have been sitting on their black belts and their master black belts for more than 3 years, and they haven't renewed it, guess what? That's an opportunity for you to market your services, of being able to accommodate them on recertifying them. How about that? There are refresher courses where we have what we call, for green belt, if they want to do yellow belt, they can renew and revisit what the journey that they went through in their initial certification to reacquaint and update their knowledge base of the level that they're in. Then we have also something called Kaizen courses. And Kaizen courses are individual tools and methodologies that we have broken out of the different certification levels. So if you just want to learn one tool here or one tool there, we have courses, many courses that will cost you $55, $125, depending on the tool. So that, one, it's more affordable. Two, if you're not ready to jump into the full journey of certification, you can get your feet wet. But it also gives you the opportunity to speak with business and industry and offer specific tools, what we call excursions. We don't call it training, we call them excursions, that give them insight to specific methodologies and concepts under the Lean Six Sigma universe. And that can be very powerful. But then it also becomes a teaser because they're going to want more. Then we also have some non-traditional courses. And you mentioned that you too were down at Mercedes-Benz not too long ago. Well, we have a course called TPS, a lean approach, which is basically lean manufacturing. And that's like a 3-day course. And it can also be done online. We also have something called a Lean Champion for managers and executives who need to oversee leaning their operations, improving their operations, managing projects. So, you know, we've got an academy that has roughly 10 courses within the series. And that is what we're bringing to the HBCU network, not just yellow, green, or black. We're bringing our entire academy. But then again, as I mentioned before, the professional development for business and industry. So I'm not sure if you're familiar with what Lean Six Sigma is, but I wanted to take a minute and share with you what it is. Lean Six Sigma is a methodology that addresses process flow and waste issues within an organization, whether it's process performance or whether it's processes or whether it's performance. It also is aimed at promoting business and operational performance excellence. So we're looking for sustainable success, as you heard me mention before. And finally, it has proven to be the foundation for innovation throughout the organization that has chosen to embrace it. And I wanted to share with you also, it doesn't really matter what the industry is, because it sits within any industry. If you have a Six Sigma program on site with you, and this is what it would look like. And the one question I have to ask for everybody who is interested in this, do you know if your program, if you have one, is compliant with the body of knowledge? And oh, by the way, there is one. Or do your candidates just have another certificate, but no practical experience using the tools of this discipline? You know, there are certain hours that have to be completed when you go through a Lean Six Sigma certification. And at some level, you've got to start doing projects. Well, with every one of our Lean Six Sigma levels from white belt on, we have case studies that allow our candidates to complete a project. So that almost becomes an internship for your students. And one of the things that we also have found is that most people don't know or understand to ask if someone's program is compliant with the body of knowledge that's been published within the industry of process improvement. We've had our programs independently researched and vetted, but we also constructed the design based on the published body of knowledge. And do you actually know what the requirements are when it comes to allowing someone to enter your programs? You know, our clients and candidates are tasked with completing improvement projects as part of their certification journey, regardless of the level. And two, are they able to look at their journeys, if they're going through full certification tracks, as internships? I think that's something that would become a business decision for the college or university that hosts the Lean Six Sigma Academy. You know, when it comes to the belts, as I mentioned earlier, that are available to you, this is what we have available to you. The white belt is 1 day, it's 8 hours. It has an exam if that's what you choose to have for your candidates. We know that higher education oftentimes has to show proof of knowledge retention, so we have created exams for all levels. Yellow belt is 16 to 20 hours, or 2 to 2.5 days. Green belt is 64 hours, or 8 days. Or online, it can be done up to 6 months. Yellow belt online, we give them up to 60 days. White belt will give you up to 30 days. Black belt is an 80-hour course equivalency if it's done online, 10 days if it's done in the classroom. Master black belt is 120 hours. It is 12 to 15 days. But we typically do master black belt online. And black belt and master black belt, you have up to 1 year to complete. So you can see how these typically can fit into the academic umbrella or universe for the students when it comes to getting this type of application. And each one of these comes with a toolbox of worksheets and templates that make it so much easy and streamlined for being able to get through the course content. As I mentioned earlier, when it comes to the other certificate courses under the Lean Six Sigma umbrella, as you can see here, I described the champion, Lean Business Leader, which we're running now online. You've got the Lean Practitioner, which is the Kaizens. Those are either half a day, 1 day, or if they're project-based, they can be up to 30 days. We've got the TPS Lean Approach, which is the Lean Manufacturing. And then we have a customized Lean Project Management course, which was designed according to the body of knowledge for project management, but then it also has a twist of Lean, and that's 2 days. And we're third-party providers, so the hours that are accumulated through this course go through and go towards, rather, the required 35 to 36 hours that are required to qualify to take your project management course. You know, when it comes to, when it comes to the TBI Academy, I want to share with you what you get and what's available underneath our academy. And it really gives you the opportunity to compare. These are the programs that are available to you underneath the Lean Six Sigma Academy from our Breakthrough Institute. When it comes to projects, each one of those certificates, as I mentioned, also has generic case studies, or you can do your own in-house projects, which we encourage, which is determined by the Lean sponsor or the contracted master black belt. It's mutually determined. The certification exam is done through us, because one of the things that we found also out here in the industry is that practitioners were oftentimes presenting schools and companies with non-compliant courses, and then they were going out and buying exams that had nothing to do with what was taught in the class. One of the things that we do through the Institute is that we have created our own exams. So what was taught in the class is tested in the exams. All the exams are online entirely, so there's no human touch other than that student who is responding to the questions, and it's graded immediately, so we know whether they passed or failed. And it is open book, so it's very difficult to fail our exam because it is open book, and two, because it's tested, we are testing using the content that we taught in the certification class. Finally, in the upper levels and then one of the ancillary levels, we utilize the personal assessment or leader assessment tools that are presented using the DISC assessment tool inventory. So this is what comes with our packages. As you can see, it's quite a bit. So how does all this work for you as a college or university in the HBCU network? Well, I mentioned earlier, it is a no-cost arrangement. We make money when that first registrant gets through the entire course, and as they move through the course, then we make our distributions. Expenses minimal, duplication of flyers and outreach. We even encourage a pilot class in order to create a buzz on your campus and within the community that you sit. Major expenses are only incurred if someone is registered for the class. We don't go out of pocket. You don't go out of pocket unless someone registers. The registration is all inclusive, as I had mentioned before. Software, while it's an additional cost, it is included. We did include it in the registration. And then the HBCUs receive a negotiated percentage of the base revenue. So it becomes a win-win for everyone. It's a win-win for the university. It's a win-win for the students, faculty, and staff who participate in this. And it just builds a greater level of curb appeal. We set this up by establishing what is entitled a master services agreement. And what this does is it lets us understand and know all the courses that you want to bring into your continuing education catalog. And at that point, our catalog becomes your catalog for this service or any of the other academies that we have available to you. TBI, the Breakthrough Institute, will customize the flyers for your own outreach and provide you with the proper language for your webpage, which is what we've done for Tennessee State. You'll also get a link for the registration page so that when it's opened up, it will reflect your organization or the HBCU network, which is who we're presenting to. We proctor all of the exams, and then once the candidates have completed all the requirements, we issue a joint certification because it needs to come from your university since that's where the candidates reside. Just so that you know, we've got this already set up, and I'll show that to you in just a moment. The registration online through your dedicated porthole incorporates a pay-as-you-go, because we do understand that, you know, students and just people in general don't always have the lump sum for these types of certifications. They are pricey, and time is also precious when it comes to these types of endeavors. This is very demanding and very consuming when it comes to this certification. Or if someone is truly committed, they have the opportunity to pay lump sum. And we'll show you the screen in just a moment. We do have student and military discounts available, which is ideal because it allows you to draw military personnel to your campus, to your programs, who seek these types of certifications. And class schedules can be structured in the following way. Because this is a fluid type of program, they can be self-directed or blended in the webinar format and recorded. They can be scheduled to coincide the HBCU's fall and spring semester schedules. It can be done on demand. It can be done in the classroom upon request. So we have thought or tried to think of just about everything that would come into play when it comes to this type of program. And the Q&As are recorded in the chat room for those who are participating. We handle everything. We do. So where does this fit? It fits on every level of your organization. We have a program called a Lockstep, which fits the inbound and outbound programs for your organizations who come in from other countries, and they're there on an educational visa, the continuing education. So what do you really need? You need the flyers and the education for the respective schools. We consider that we suggest that you run a pilot, a white belt one day, or a half-day intro to create the buzz for this. And engage the students, because they need to understand, and everyone needs to understand what this is all about. So what do you need to do next? Learn of the current needs of your partners. And get your marketing department involved in other ancillary departments that can be good feeds for spreading the word for you. And do an article about it in your school department or the HBC Network magazines. And you know, bottom line, if you're ready to go and you see the value of what this can do for not only the students but the university or college, give us a call and let's have that conversation about building the curb appeal. So you have any questions for me?
Definitely appreciate the presentation. That was extremely helpful about not only the background but the process and who it benefits, even in the constituents. So for me, there's I think a number of constituents that you mentioned are interest to me. The first is our students. At the same time, it's the community as well, but initially the students, I think you started off with one of the things, I'm not a traditional academician, so the way I kind of approach higher ed is more from an industry perspective than it is kind of the higher ed traditional perspective. So and I am new to not only higher ed but Stillman, and so this upcoming year is really my first year, first full academic year. And so a couple of things that I would like to implement are in different verticals in the disciplines within the School of Business is offering various certifications that are what I call is a value to the business community. Unfortunately, a degree is not value to the business community because it doesn't tell you what you can do. It makes assumptions, but you can't verify. Just because you have a degree, it's not verified a particular skill.
Right.
But things like the, PMP, Six Sigma, other certifications across the board from, different disciplines provide an understanding and a certain skill set. So anyway, so my reason I was giving that little background is because a student is one of my number one goals is once again is looking at that, because we have two curriculums that really kind of feed into things like Six Sigma, like project management certifications. One is a management aspect, and then we have supply chain management and logistics.
Right.
So under those, and not just those, but I want to offer a number of certifications to our students so that as they're matriculating through the program, they're, like I think as you mentioned earlier, at the end of the day, they're going to come with a resume that actually has certifications and proficiencies in areas which are not, once again, denoted in a degree. So, so I would love to see how we can get some of the students, what that looks like, what is the cost per student. Because the one thing I want to know, I don't know if you've done this already or on our end, what we'll have to do is figure out is this something that we seek additional funds for the students to pay for? Is it something that we incorporate into a class, like one of our operation management courses, one of our supply chain management, where it's a part of the course, so that, like I said, so they're able to sit for the exam in a year, or after they take, course 1 and course 2, they have enough hours, enough projects and case studies that they're able to move forward. And so those are the things that the first part that I'm interested in. The second one is for community. One of the goals one of the pillars that I have in our vision statement is civic engagement and responsibility, and how do we use our institution to engage our community, to empower them, and obviously from the School of Business economically. And so that is something I would love to be able to offer to the community and our business partners. Like you said, the president and I yesterday we were at Mercedes talking about a deeper relationships with Mercedes in a co-op. So those, and then there's a number of other advanced manufacturer logistic company that we have relationships with, that we're building relationships with, that I would love to be able to say that we're an institute where individuals in their firms or their organizations can come and get these certifications and or could get professional development. But once again, that would be kind of like 1A, how to put that together, how to market it, which ones, like you said, do a kind of a inventory of what ones are more attractive to the industries that are close to us, that are in our partners, that we could benefit financially from. So those are the two buckets I would love to. And obviously the student part is also the staff. So how do our staff get involved? But that would probably be like the third level, is because that would obviously be something that either, once again, we raise money for, put grant money for, to do a few of our faculty, and or just having them pay out of pocket. So, or do professional development. I'll see that one, but that would be the third vertical.
Yeah, and I mean, there are foundations out there, a lot of the corporations out there. If you can, and what I'll do following this session is I'll send you a couple of the prospectuses. I think I sent you over the Six Sigma prospectus, but I'll send you over the TPS, which is the lean manufacturing, because you want, when it comes to the business community, especially the small business community, you want them prepared and able to speak to the language of the customers that they're calling upon. And if they can't speak the language or come in and validate that they are set up to accommodate and understand how to accommodate these types of clients, then they're not going to get the business. And those who understand it will be empowered to win the business every time. So that lean manufacturing, or the lean business leader, is one that we offer and would be ideal for your area, because you've got the Honda plant in Anniston, and then you've got Vance sitting over there with the Mercedes plants. So and then you've got all of the supporting businesses that are in between. And it's important for the business community to understand how to talk to these folks so that they can get in the door and make some things happen.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I know I was going to ask something on that, but no, I definitely agree with that. There was also, and I just actually missed it because I flew. Well, I was flying out of town this morning, but I'm a part of the manufacturing cluster for workforce development in the West Tuscaloosa region. And that's just another one I can plug into to get a lot of this information a little bit quicker. Because as they're developing this workforce initiative, part of it is, Alabama has said multiple times that obviously the growth of not only the automotive industry, but advanced manufacturing, Amazon, Google, a couple other tech companies are putting some of their data centers and some of their centers and fulfillment centers in Alabama, and they're already at a point where they're importing talent because they don't have enough skills, or individuals don't have the right skills to fulfill jobs. And so this is this offering these certifications or identifying what is needed in some of these industries would be also a value add for Stillman to have this kind of like a training institute. That is something that I would like to have within the School of Business, is this like training institute that offers not only our students, but our community and partners, certifications and licenses and a number of areas. And this is one that this will be a great vertical to add to that.
Awesome.
So I guess for me, I guess the next part is really just looking at the pricing. What would that look like really for students? And I know that was reduced for students and faculty. I would love to know what that is so I can start putting together how many students we could do, like you said, a pilot, what that would look like, and go from.
Well, you know what, we can certainly talk offline, and and what I can do is we can do a shared screen offline and go deeper and more specific in that conversation with you. Because we'd love to be able to assist you in that regard and share with you more so how we've got this thing set up in more detail and how it can work for you all.
Perfect. No, that'll be perfect. Because what I'll do too is even though you might not have the actual curriculum, I'll send you our catalog just so you can see some of the courses that we have. So you'll see the courses that we have in not only our supply chain management, but also our management program and just some other ones. Because I know the offerings and the details a little bit more. And so one of the things that could be a part of the conversation is looking at some of those courses where some of the certifications might fit, and that can just be a part of our conversation of how to roll it out at Stillman for our students. Is how do it could be incorporated in some of the courses. And then too, we can also add it because there's other students across campus. The things that I like to do is that the thing that we offer the School of Business is open to everyone. And so they might not mostly take an operation management course, but we can also offer, like that the white belt, to our biology students or to our cybersecurity students or something like that. So I would love to kind of put it in buckets of how do we incorporate it in the course. Is that the most efficient way to do it, or like I said, do a certification or do something like just over the summer where our juniors and seniors take the course, take a blitz course and just make it a summer course where they're paying for a summer course and they're just, and they're doing that and we can give them credit for it. So I would love to, like I said, have this conversation offline where we can go through a number of scenarios on how we can get it for students. Like I said, I'm extremely excited about the student part because this is actually what like I said, I already have the outline for it, and you would be a great partner in actualizing that vertical. And then, like I said, we can continue that conversation on how we do it for the community and what information we need to collect from the community and go from there.
Okay, that would be fabulous. And I think you're going to find that based on how we have structured this, that it becomes literally seamless for all involved and painless. when it comes to registering, the accountability. You know, we are accountable to making sure that when we've got people registering, that there is a monthly, you know, reporting that goes back to you so that you know what the progress is of the students, that you know where the dollars are, if you've got any registrants, or if people have registered through your efforts, or if they come through you to register, letting you know how you register or how you should be registering the students when it comes to the classes and so forth. So I would be more than happy to share that with you.
Awesome. Awesome. No, that is, like I said, I would love to do that. And then I'll also, and just as you were talking, you made me actually think we said online. We also have an online program, an online accelerated management program for our business school. And these are more, you know, mature adults. And so they usually range in age from 25 up, and most of them have not only job experience, but substantial job experience. And these certifications, I think, are, to me, are even more valuable than the degree. A number of them obviously are coming back getting their degree because they can't move into certain management or supervisor roles without it. But then also adding, you know, some of these certifications as they're going through the process will only continue to enhance their ability to be successful in their current and future careers. So, so like I said, so I'll send you just some of, you know, our course catalog and direct you to some of the pages and stuff that you can just kind of go into, so it'll help prepare you for our conversation. Excuse me.
Okay.
When we kind of, you know, do a customized approach for STEM.
Okay, that's awesome. That's awesome. What I'm going to do, if you've got a couple minutes, I think we're pretty much at the end of this presentation. And if you like, I'd like to quickly show you what some of that looks like offline. So that'll give you some food for thought. But these are some of the other, these are some of the other academies that we have available to you. And that can become part of your academy curriculums in the continuing ed or the business school or wherever you put them, because we can become a one-stop shop for you.
Well, you're speaking my language. I like to work smart, not hard. And so entrepreneur, I would love to tell you, because I'm designing an entrepreneurship curriculum now. To kind of augment what we already have, and you know, and then
well, we've got one already running. As a matter of fact, we're running it now at Bethune Cookman.
Awesome.
Yeah, at Bethune Cookman, we have the Project Management, Entrepreneur, and Lean Six Sigma academies. So
awesome.
And it looks like we're going to be bringing the diversity and inclusion to them as well. We just got a request from them.
That's good, because that's actually so diversity inclusion is some of the work I do with my own firm as well. So that is also something like I said that I'm interested in as well, is your academic. Oh, well, actually all of them. So I would love to talk about all of them, like I said, because I want to bring, and then we're enhancing our student organizations. And these are another part where some of these academies could live or partner with our student organizations, because like I said, I want our students I want them to understand that the classroom is not the only place where they learn. They need to be a part and connected to other things. And then our organizations or business organizations and our business clubs are going to have these type of workshops or these type of learning opportunities, but then also connect to a larger community, so their network is also expanding while they're in school, and not just sitting in the classroom and trying to get A's, but connecting and learning in different ways and different mediums. And so, so like I said, so I'm interested. What's that?
And making it real.
Oh yes. Oh no, that's all day. So it's So I'm an entrepreneur, and entrepreneurship is not taught in a book. If you don't do it, you don't know it. So
you don't know it.
So I don't care how many degrees you got. You can have 5 PhDs in entrepreneurship. If you've never done it, you're not an entrepreneur. So
that's right.
it's nothing you talk about, you got to do. So yeah, so these are the experience I want our students to have. And then too, I know a number of HBCUs, one of I guess you could say our mottos, or, is working with diverse, students from all backgrounds. And so that being said, once again, is, they can be just as successful as anyone. It's just, once again, it's additional experience and exposure, so that they're confident in the skills that they're developing in the industry that they want to go into throughout their professional career. And so experiential learning to me is just as important as our academic experience. And so that's hopefully what I'll be leaving at Stillman, whenever that is the fact that we increase our practical application to and change the way our students are experiencing higher ed just in general. So
Absolutely. Did you want to say anything else on that?
Well, no, I'd like to add that the program that we have created, and that whole curriculum, is based upon being a practitioner and not a hypothetical theoretician, but being a practitioner.
Yeah. Okay. Well, if you have a couple of seconds left, I would really like to